non-medical switching is when a therapy is changed, usually by a payer, a pharmacy benefit management company, with consideration over the cost of therapy, and the cost of therapy for a population of patients, not a patient-specific cost. And they're acting in an effort to try to manage the cost for their client, is trying to manage their prescription benefit costs.
As a pharmacist, it can be a little tricky sometimes, because oftentimes you don't have the full picture of the discussion that's happened between the provider and the patient prior to them getting to the pharmacy. And so then many times you're kind of put in a position where you've got to work with the patient to try and figure out why the medication they were expecting to get when they were coming to the pharmacy is not what you're dispensing to them.
Pharmacists often get blamed for sending the message that a drug that their patient's prescriber has ordered is something that will cost them either more money or is not available to them. And so I hate to use the term the messenger gets shot, but sometimes that's what happens. And so pharmacists are getting blamed for something that's not really their decision.
So oftentimes pharmacists are playing that role maybe more than they'd like to be. And so they're usually working with patients around if a medication needs to be switched for cost considerations, so if a copay is too expensive, or if the pharmacy benefit manager won't cover a certain product, so we have to switch to a different one. For cost-based reasons, then it's up to the pharmacist to explain that while still trying to make sure that the patient understands that the medication that they may be getting switched to is still safe and effective. So the role of the pharmacist then is to evaluate and assess the patient need. Is the other medication, or is this medication that the patient is going to get, safe and effective, and it meets the cost needs of the patient as well?
It's a situation that sometimes frustrates physicians and patients because what the doctor orders is not something that the insurance company will pay for. And what pharmacists end up in a position of having to deliver that message to both the patient and the prescriber. And that's something that is frustrating to both, and something that often is unfairly attributed to the pharmacist, that the pharmacist is making that decision. The pharmacist has an interest in making sure that patients get the best use of their medicines, and that medicines help them and don't harm them. And so the pharmacist shares that responsibility with the prescriber. And so it's important, though, to consider the cost of therapy. Biologics are really expensive. And so a pharmacist can play an important role in working with patients and physicians to make sure that cost considerations aren't made without duly considering safety and effectiveness considerations, but on the other hand, that cost considerations are part of the therapeutic decision.